so-called this चट्टान के पीछे खड़ा हुआ ये चुनाव आयोग का इलेक्शन कमिश्नर वोटर के पीछे, all he is doing is he is push the voters from the chattan so that you get yourself re-enrolled. Electoral roll has no this thing of the BLA. It is a standalone thing. When Justice Suryakant says your BLA can do this, BLA, as if BLA is being paid by the government of India, as if they are a government servant. Why is the BLO, if the BLO cannot look after 1,000 votes in 1 year, then you are expecting the BLA, who can be bought and sold, who has to be paid, who may not be a committed volunteer.
In your wisdom, do you think that an election commission lawyer in a case like this should have made a statement like this when he says that it is, the way he said, that it is the duty of the political parties to come forward and assist
Absolutely
the election
not.
in this exercise?
But political parties have no mention in the constitution. Political parties have no mention in the electoral laws. This is supposed to be. They are only mentioned in the electoral manual.
No, so is Mr. Dwivedi misleading the court, sir? Is Mr. Dwivedi misleading the court by saying...
The court and Mr. Dwivedi have to look at it from the point of view of an elector, voters who are represented there in sufficient numbers. They are organizations who are representing the left out, the backward, and voters over there. They have formed a registered society. If you remember, on day one, I said, after this new bench was appointed, that SIR will go through. They will keep on postponing this matter till they come out with the final list.
Absolutely.
And that has been prophetic. Every time they are postponing. The entire issue is not from the political parties' viewpoint. It has to be looked from the voters' point.
Hello and a warm welcome to HW News Network, your one-stop show, truth be told, for some engaging and thought-provoking conversations. In the Bihar Special Intensive Revision matter, Supreme Court today ordered that the persons who are excluded from the draft electoral roll can submit their applications for inclusion through online mode and that physical submission of forms is not necessary. The court further clarified that any of the 11 documents mentioned by the Election Commission of India or an Aadhar card can be submitted along with the applications seeking inclusion in the list. So this comes as a little relief for the voters who've been running from pillar to post. Jairam Ramesh, in a tweet just now, has also welcomed this step by the Supreme Court. And the bench of Justices Suryakant and Joy Malia Bagchi also directed that the 12 recognized political parties in the state of Bihar to instruct the booth level agents to assist the persons in their respective booths for the submission of the forms. Now, is this a direction that the political parties need to be assisting their BLAs? That's what the court means. The court pleaded all those recognized parties as respondents in the petition if they are already petitioners in the matter. So they've directed the 12 political parties to assist the BLAs. Then the court also expressed surprise that although there are about 1.6 lakh booth level agents of the political parties, only 2 objections have come from them. However, some parties submitted that the officers were not acknowledging the objections given by the BLAs. Now, what has the court noted? That's very important. And I'm going to quote what exactly they have noted. What we are surprised to see is that 1.6 lakh BLAs have so far filed only 2 objections. On the other hand, some political parties submitted that the BLAs are not being permitted to submit their objections. Now, addressing the concerns raised by some petitioners that the booth level officers were not issuing acknowledgement receipts to the objections submitted by the BLAs, the court directed the BLOs to acknowledge the receipt wherever physical forms are submitted. Now, during the hearing, now look at what the Election Commission lawyer has been saying. Rakesh Dwivedi says that for the Election Commission of India, what he said, that the compliance affidavit has been filed stating that the lists containing the names of voters excluded from the draft roll, including the reasons of exclusions, have been published on the websites and polling booths as directed by the court on August 14th. He added that the lists have been shared with the BLAs of the political parties. And Rakesh Dwivedi also asserted that no political party has filed a single objection to deletion till date. When Dwivedi said that no political party has come before the court, then senior advocate Kapil Sibal and Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi countered. Sibal said that he was representing the RJD MP Manoj Jha from the opposition party in Bihar, and Singhvi said that he was appearing in a petition which was jointly filed by Congress, CPIM, CPIML, CPI, and NCP. Now, Rakesh Dwivedi also submitted that 2 lakh forms have been filed by the new voters for inclusion in the list, and none of the 12 recognized political parties in the state have given any objections. Now, there were lots of other things which were said during the hearing. Prashant Bhushan also mentioned that many persons are working as migrant workers outside the state and they may not be able to file the forms. And the biggest opposition party is RJD. They do not have enough BLAs on the ground. Then similarly, Gopal Shankar Narayanan, who's the advocate for the Association of Democratic Reform, said that the legality of the exercise itself must be decided. He claimed that despite the court's order, the booth level officers were not accepting Aadhar as a standalone document. Similarly, Vrinda Grover said that if an Aadhar card is submitted, the officers were insisting on any of the 11 documents submitted in the SIR. Then advocate Fauzia Shakil requested that September 1st deadline to submit the forms be extended, considering that the lists of excluded persons were published only on August 19th. So all in all, now the matter has been posted for 8th of September, but the court again hasn't said enough. Will this be a relief for the voters and the political parties? We'll try and dissect, and also the attitudes of the judges as well as the attitude of the Election Commission lawyer. Joining me this evening is lawyer and activist Arun Agarwal, who's been following this case very, very closely, as he's been one of the petitioners in the earlier cases as far as the Election Commission is also concerned. Arunji, thank you so much for joining on HW. But what would you really make of the hearing today? The next hearing has been posted for 8th of September, but now that the Aadhar cards can be accepted online, do you see this as a relief, or do you see this as some kind of a delaying tactics on the part of the Supreme Court?
Good evening, Niluji. It all went along accepted lines. There is absolutely no reason, and there is this thing, law in favor of including Aadhar. So by including Aadhar, no favor is being done. It is a part of the law which cannot be denied. Under 23, it is specifically mentioned that if a person, and Form 6B, that if a person fills the form and gives his Aadhar card, he has to be included. They are trying to, you see, what is the ultimate game and what is the court doing and playing to? That has to be understood. The game was that earlier they were deleting and adding names surreptitiously and getting away with it by rigging elections in various states, which has now come out in the open, whether it be Karnataka, Maharashtra or Haryana, and also now Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. That was going on very successfully in collusion with the BLO and the ERO, who were receiving massive kickbacks, massive amount of money. Because you know that the BJP is not short on funds, it is not short on people, it is not short on volunteers who can bribe and who can influence. This was going on. That came to an end recently. So when it came to an end and all these murmurings were going on and these people knew, they decided to do it officially through so-called SIR. In the SIR, if you look at the type of ground reporting that is happening, you are finding that it is the Muslims, the Dalit, the very backward. These are the people whose names are being deleted. And these are not the voters of the upper caste and the dominant party that is there in Bihar. That is very apparent, because you can only delete those names of the deprived who do not have the knowledge, education, resources to get themselves enrolled as a voter once their name is struck off. This is an effort of going on of about 20 years, when T.S. Seshan himself went to Bihar and ensured that there were separate booths for the SC/ST candidates so that they could not be prevented by being bullied into not voting. That is the effort that the Election Commission took place, including putting their names on the enrollment. So now what they say is, we will delete as per pleasure. Now you get yourself re-enrolled.
What I want to understand from you, Arunji, is that every news website is now playing up to the fact that Aadhar now is valid for voter roll revision. The top court tells Election Commission, and likewise, every other website is saying that Bihar voters who were challenging their exclusion from the electoral rolls before an election later this year now can present the Aadhar as a proof of residence. Supreme Court has directed the Election Commission to add the government issued ID to a list of 11 others. Now, is this such a big relief for the voters? The way the mainstream media is projecting that, oh my God, this is such a big generosity by the courts. This is such a big direction to the Election Commission. Do you also see it like that?
No, I don't, because that is the very minimum that the court could do. In fact, it has been doing from the very first time when Justice Dhulia was there on the bench.
Have done it on day one itself.
And clearly the Election Commission was in contempt by not complying when that order was issued in the first hearing itself, that you consider, that was a polite way of saying, that you consider these three documents. And then when Justice Suryakant took over, he only included Aadhar and he left out EPIC, etc. So they are not doing any favor. It is provided as per law. Those 11 documents are not as per law. There are other documents which are mentioned in Form 6 which are as per law. So if you are going to celebrate what is already written in the law because you have been deprived, and so-called this चट्टान के पीछे खड़ा हुआ ये चुनाव आयोग का इलेक्शन कमिश्नर वोटर के पीछे, all he is doing is he is push the voters from the चट्टान so that you get yourself re-enrolled. You cut off the 10-20% people who are not going to vote for BJP. Then you say you get yourself enrolled. In that case, then there is this fight. So out of the 20% or that you eliminated after doing voter profile, suppose 15% get this thing and 5% don't, then you consider it as a victory, but still they will get 5% of their opponents' voters deleted from that entire list by this subterfuge. The court, I believe, what we see, the first thing is that the lawyers representing the people and the party, they should coordinate and they should decide what strategy and what to speak, because Election Commission keeps on speaking untruths, or I should say falsehood, and getting away with it. Who will believe that only 2 applications have come from the 1.6 lakh BLA when we are seeing these BLA? Last night I have seen Ajit Anjum, there is a BLA over there, he is having a list over there, he says he has gone and it has not been entertained. People have seen wholesale fraud being committed by the BLO.
Arunji, no, but Arunji, does that mean that the Election Commission's lawyer is standing in the courtroom and speaking plain white lies before the judges?
Yes, and it is convenient for the judges. See, please show me in the entire electoral laws if there is any mention of BLA. Who is the BLA? He is supposed to be a representative of the political party who has an oversight that is.
But Arunji, judges could have easily countered it. No? Even if the Election Commission's lawyer is speaking a lie, what is the way for the judges?
If you had seen it from the beginning, Justice Suryakant didn't know the difference between BLA and BLO. So he had to be told. So unless and until you study a matter in depth, you will not be able to, whatever goes over there in a hurry, that is all that is said. BLO is
having a casual approach. Now, today, the manner in which Kant conducted himself, he doesn't know the difference between BLA and BLOs. So which means that he's having a very casual approach to such a humongous case.
Yes, In a way, you can say so. And then when the election commission says that the BLA is there, he is supposed to help us 1.6 lakh. Arey bhai, please understand who is this BLA. He is the intermediary of the political party to bribe your BLO and the ERO. And because the BJP is doing in wholesale, the other political parties are compelled to appoint a BLO, a BLA. Otherwise, they were not appointing BLAs. Elections are not meant, electoral roll has no this thing of the BLA. It is a standalone thing. When Justice Surya Kant says your BLA can do this, BLA, as if BLA is being paid by the government of India, as if they are a government servant. Why is the BLO, if the BLO cannot look after 1,000 votes in 1 year, then you are expecting the BLA, who can be bought and sold, who has to be paid, who may not be a committed volunteer, and as it is in 50% of the constituencies, there is no BLA of the opposition parties. Most of the BLAs are from JDU and BJP. Out of 1.6 lakhs, 1 lakh belong to them. So they are the ones who are sabotaging. So is it your case that if the BLA is not there, then you will have a totally concocted, the election commission will get a free run to rig the elections?
Right.
Is that the case?
No, I'm saying that what would you really say today when the court gave some very strong comments for the political parties? They said that they were demanding to know why many of the political parties had opposed the revision on the ground. Was it designed to disenfranchise the communities that traditionally vote for them? Had not assisted the 65 lakh deleted voters? And the court even said that the political parties are not doing their jobs. And basically it is echoing the poll panel's stance. So what would you really say to that? The entire responsibility now shifts to the political parties.
No, you should have seen when those lawyers who were not represented, first of all, he starts by saying that how many political parties are represented. So Dr. Singhvi said, I represent so and so. In case of Kapil Sibal for Mahua Moitra, he openly said that she is in a personal capacity as an MP and not in a representative capacity as the representative of the TMC. I mean, that was taken. But then he is more on this, how many political parties are represented, issue notice to them. The fact of the matter is that it is the electorate who are there in the court. And when their lawyers are getting up to speak, you are not allowing them to speak. You have to see the entire thing from the perspective of a voter, an individual, an elector who is signified in we the people.
I'm sure you must have heard what Rakesh Dwivedi said, and Live Law has very clearly reported it with a bold. They have said that the political parties are just whipping up fear for their political interests. This is what he said when he was saying that 2 lakh forms have been filed by the new voters for inclusion in the list, and none of the 12 political parties in the state have given any objections. And the reason for this is that they are only whipping up fear for their political interests. What would you really say to this? An election commission's lawyers speaking like this?
Look, all over the country, the election commission, their lawyers and everybody is seen as an agent of the BJP. And unfortunately, it goes beyond the election commission and their lawyers and the party. It's much, the decadence is much worse than what we are imagining. And we are seeing it playing out in the court.
In your wisdom, do you think that an election commission lawyer in a case like this should have made a statement like this when he says that it is, the way he said, that it is the duty of the political parties to come forward and assist
Absolutely not.
In this exercise? But
political parties have no mention in the constitution. Political parties have no mention in the electoral laws. This is supposed to be... They are only mentioned in the electoral manual.
No, so is Mr. Dwivedi misleading the court, sir? Is Mr. Dwivedi misleading the court by saying...
The court and Mr. Dwivedi have to look at it from the point of view of an elector, voters who are represented there in sufficient numbers. They are organizations who are representing the left out, the backward, and the voters over there. They have formed a registered society. ADR is not representing any political party, yet you are not hearing them. when Gopal Shankar Narayan gets up and says that please decide this matter on the backdrop of the law, you are not allowing him those arguments to decide the matter on the law. Yes, we will see. This is just a panchayat type of compromise agreement. If you don't allow Aadhar, there will be mayhem on the street because the law allows it, and the election commission by its high-handedness. Why have the courts not made the election commission accountable for eliminating Aadhar when it was specifically mentioned in the rules?
No, and
that
this could
Aadhar
have
will be
easily,
mentioned in Form 6.
but sir, this stand the courts could have taken on day one itself. It takes
It
them
is
so
not.
long.
That is showing where the loyalty lies. I'm sorry. You see, something very, I have not seen this unprecedented happen. Justice Bagchi wanted to speak. He was not allowed to speak by the senior judge, Justice Suryakant. 3 times it happened. The lawyer said that please allow Justice Bagchi to speak.
Yes.
He has been trying to speak 3 times. What does it show? What does it show? If you remember, on day 1, I said, after this new bench was appointed, that SIR will go through. They will keep on postponing this matter till they come out with the final list.
Absolutely.
And that has been prophetic. Every time they are postponing. The entire issue is not from the political parties' viewpoint. It has to be looked from the voter's point. Is the voter digitally savvy? Was the election roll prepared with a view of excluding those who don't know, who are not educated, who is the last man on the street, who doesn't read newspaper, who is not even aware that his vote has been cut? We are privileged people who are,
Since we are talking also about Justice Suryakant, another thing which I observed, Arun sir, during the course of the hearing was that the petitioners were asking for extra time, that there should be additional time, for this entire list to be reviewed. And also Justice Suryakant, instead of writing it as part of the order, he makes a verbal observation that election commission may consider it. Now, what is there to consider? Isn't it something obvious that the entire process is so delayed, so you need to give some extra time? Why couldn't he say this?
You see, I'm very sorry to say that Justice Suryakant, what he says, he doesn't live up to. Earlier, he had said, while the case relating to the appointment of the election commission was taking place, that if they appoint an election commissioner on the 17th, consequences will follow. That was 17th of February. We are now talking in the month of August. Nothing happened. Then he said, you produce me 15 persons who are dead, who are alive and whose name is included in the dead list. That day they produce 15 persons. I can tell you they are 1.5 lakh. There was a person yesterday I found, they said that 30% of the votes of the names deleted on account of death are wrong. How does it look when people in the camera look at it and say that these dead persons are supposed to be alive, and when those dead persons are having tea with the leader of the opposition? Will they believe those dead persons who are alive, or will they believe the Supreme Court of India? And especially when you say that, show me 15 persons, they are not 15 persons, they are 1.5 lakh people who have been wrongly shown as dead and who have been deleted because of voter profiling by the BLA of the Bhajpa party. See, where does these BLAs are only intermediaries, be it from any other party. If I am a BLA, if I offer the ERO or the BLO, 5 lakh rupees, and he has got no accountability because he has got Mr. Dwivedi and the Chief Commissioner to defend all illegal acts. Has one person being charge sheeted for making fraudulent signatures on the enumeration form and uploading it. And I can assure you that there must be at least 10,000 such BLOs who have, if not, there are about 75,000 BLOs, if not 30,000 BLOs who have been committing this fraud.
Right.
So we are overlooking everything.
Yes.
And people are watching, because for them, it is not the Supreme Court when it comes to the vote. What Mr. Dwivedi says in the Supreme Court, It is what is captured on the camera by, uh, I would like to describe activist come YouTube journalists. I mean, journalists with a heart, let me say. I wouldn't even call them activists because they don't take political sides, who are going into the field and exposing the reality of everything. So when it comes to that, you file a FIR against that journalist and not against that BLO who is sitting in the office on the instruction of his superior, is faking for signatures and uploading it. Have you
Absolutely. So,
taken?
my last two questions, Arunji, because the court is overlooking everything. They are delaying it as much as possible, and the elections will be notified. Nothing will be done. SIR will be rolled out. The final list also will be published. So, what is the final outcome of this SIR case, according to you?
No, the final outcome is this, that this country is going to be on the boil for the next 1 year because the court refuses to discharge its constitutional duty in a very urgent matter. By now, they should have decided the constitutionality of SIR, whether it is legal or illegal. There is absolutely no excuse for the court to not have decided the matter. This will now go into Bengal. This will go into all the other states, and everywhere. This, what you are seeing in Bihar, this scenario will be repeated. And God help this country. No economic development. The billions of dollars are being lost on frivolous thing, which is not required. How many times will a person keep on
Can the Chief
producing
Justice,
Aadhar?
but Justice Gawai, can he not intervene? Or is he
If he
not going to?
wants, but he will not, because he is to the end of his tenure, and he is listening to another important matter. And I'm quite sure that I mean, this matter shouldn't have gone to where it has gone. I mean, what is happening is very sad. You watch when they go to Bengal, what happens. Bengal, they don't have their government. Here you have got Nitish Kumar fully there to protect all these EROs and the BLOs and all that, to keep on committing forgery, fraud in front of the people and saying, no, we were signing on only on dead forms. Everything what they have said is false. People are seeing it in this thing. They lie through their teeth. You cannot shift. My basic grouse is, election commission cannot shift its responsibility to the BLA. It cannot say we will commit the fraud for the BJP and it is for the BLA to check that fraud and identify that and get them relisted. The charge against the election commission is very grave, and it can only get away by stating falsehood in the court and the court allowing those falsehoods to go through and not making. Why have not they listened to the lawyers of the voters? Political party is not important. Show me where the political party, I mean, they may be leader of opposition, all that, where is it mentioned in the constitution? So it's a very it is it was very predicted, and it has gone along the lines. One, I have always said that they will have to allow Aadhar, but everything else will go through. And that is exactly what they have done. And over there, you can't file. You see, even educated people like us, we can't fight against a clerk over there who will say that I can't trace your file unless and until I don't give him 1,000 rupees, he will not trace the file. They are so corrupt.
Very quickly, one brief answer from you. Will the court decide whether this SIR was constitutional or it was anti-constitutional? Brinda Grover had raised this point, but there were no answers on that. When will this matter be decided? Will they decide it much later? After the Bihar
they will allow it in Bihar, and then they say कि अब Bihar में हो गया, तो we will do it in other places. That will become a precedent. The country may go to the dogs. I mean, can we afford the country to be on the boil on all the time for some issue or the other? And when will the court decide, get together and say that this is an important matter? We have to set aside every work and decide this urgently, rather than give priority to this, whether it be the electoral war. And when will they start doing full justice and not ad hoc justice, as they did in Ram Janam Bhoomi by giving allotment of land or some land to the masjid, or they did in the case of Kashmir, where Chandrachud says, I mean, look at the contempt. Ask the Attorney General, Advocate General, and this thing that when are you restoring the statehood? You will restore? Yes, yes, within a year. Did they restore it? It was very convenient for him to ask, and for him, we will not decide. We are not deciding the matter because we have given the assurance. Same thing it did in Maharashtra. The speaker didn't decide the matter. So the criticism of the Supreme Court on deciding vital matters relating to democracy is very well deserved, and it is time that just as people lost faith in the election commission, I dare say it should not happen that people lose faith in the Supreme Court also.
And very unfortunate that the court is failing on such important constitutional matters. I really don't know what to really say at this point of time, but Arunji rightly pointed out that the courts now probably will be held responsible for keeping the country boiled over the next 1 year, where important states are going to elections: West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Assam. And is SIR going to be replicated on the same lines as what has happened in Bihar? So God forbid, I don't know what is really going to happen. Thank you so much, Arunji, for joining on the HW. Thank you.